I've been trying to learn how to step. I want to. Uh-oh. I went the wrong way. Man, this is crazy. I love moments like that where just stuff happens and you just roll with it. Again, it's Michelle Wright in studio with DJ Cassidy, and it's people like you that make the world go round.
Hey,
I love that song.
Thank
Cassidy,
you very much. Thank you.
We love
you for supporting it.
I want to know, when did you have that moment where you were like, oh, people love me and what I do? Have you had one of those moments that you can share with us?
I've had many,
Okay.
but one in particular regarding this song. I ran into Beyonce and Kelly Rowland.
Wait, hold up. Beyonce, well, we know you do Beyonce parties, but you ran into Beyonce and Kelly?
I was at a function.
It's the lifestyle.
I was at a function. Let's leave it at that.
Okay.
And I ran into Beyonce and Kelly. And they both were like, yo, we love your song. And it took me a second. I was like, what song? I stupidly said, what song? And they said, people like you. And they started singing. And I was like, you know my song? And they're like, yeah, it's on the radio every 5 minutes. We love your song. And then Beyonce turns to me and said, it's an amazing song.
Well, it really is.
So at that moment, thank you. At that moment, I really kind of reached a new mental stage in the journey of my album. You know, I've been around the world as a DJ many times over, playing for many cultural icons like Beyonce and Jay-Z and Puffy and Oprah and President Obama.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually know that those amazing cultural iconic leaders know my music is very surreal for me. You know, it's all very new, and that was really a great moment.
Wow. Well, one of the reasons that superstars, people that achieve just a high level of celebrity, one of the things that they appreciate is when they give people access to them. You know, the things that they don't want disclosed, they don't. However, something that I think you might be able to disclose is who gets down the hardest at your parties.
Well, you know, people always want to know if the president gets down, and
because we've seen him dance. He even sang to Michelle.
I'm not ashamed to say the president does get down, and the first lady gets down. But everyone I name gets down. You know, people often think you're going to have some crazy thing to say about celebrities and how they act at a party.
Yes.
But they act like all of us.
Okay.
You know, they're really there for the same reasons we're all there. To dance, to celebrate an occasion. The only difference is that normal people are there to celebrate a birthday, and the president's there to celebrate being elected to, to the presidency of the United States. But you know, it's really all the same. Doesn't matter how famous you are. Doesn't matter how wealthy you are. People go to a party. People throw a party to dance and to celebrate.
Wow. Well, I have a lot of friends who are DJs, turntablists, mixers, producers, etc. And they all have a different approach when they do a party. You know, they'll go on the vibe, they say, of the people out there and whatever. But I want to know, do you have any go-to songs that you're like, you know what, no one can resist these?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Let me start by saying that as a young kid, I started DJing when I was 10 years old. My parents bought me turntables for my 10th birthday, literally. So 2/3 of my life, I've been a DJ.
Oh, you were going to do this.
I always did.
Yep.
You know, it was a career way before I knew what that word meant. And I always made it my mission as a young child to play all music for all people all over the world. That was my motto. It still is my motto. So I always wanted to be able to go to any party, any club, with any kind of people and rock any kind of music and be able, like you said, to read the crowd. I think that's the most important skill a DJ can have. But no matter where I've gone as a DJ,
yes,
America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, playing for any race, religion, shape, size, style, creed, and color, I grew to believe that the soul music of the late 1970s and early 1980s was the greatest and most universal dance music of all time.
Are you serious?
And if you ask me for a record, I always say that Don't Stop Till You Get Enough by Michael Jackson is the greatest party record ever recorded. It epitomizes the spirit, energy, and emotion of the music of that era. And I've seen the music of that era inspire all kinds of people, no matter if you came from that era, if you came right after, like myself, or a young kid in their teens today who has no nostalgic relationship to the music whatsoever. I've seen that music make all kinds of people dance year after year throughout the world. And that's actually the sound that I sought out to bring back to young people with my music over the past 4 years creating my debut album.
Wow. Wow, you won us when you said Michael Jackson, man, and wow, what a song. Tell us about the album.
So I set out on this mission 4 years ago. I wanted to bring the infectious, explosive spirit
Yep.
and emotion of the music of this era, the late 1970s, early 1980s, back to young people today.
Okay.
Back to their radio stations, to their to their dance floors, to their nightclubs, to give them their own anthems of celebration. So in an effort to do that, to capture that special something of that music, I reunited 22 of the most legendary musicians of the late 1970s and early 1980s for the first time in over 30 years in one room to capture their definitive sound. With no samples, no covers, no interpolations, no machines. So every note of every song on my debut album is being played by the members of Earth, Wind & Fire, the members of Kool and the Gang, the members of Chic, the members of Rufus, every musician who played on Off the Wall from Michael and Quincy, so on and so forth. So people like Philip Bailey, Verdine White, Nile Rodgers, Marcus Miller, Wawa Watson, Patrice Rushen, Ray Parker Jr., they are the men and women playing every note on these songs. So that was the first half of the creation of this album. Then I said, now this music needs new voices to bring this music to new young people today. But the voices not only need to represent my generation, they need to represent all genres of music that young people today listen to. They need to represent the R&B world, the electronic music world, the rock and roll world, the pop world, all kinds of music, but coming together under this sound.
Yes.
So I united John Legend, Estelle, Mary J. Blige, Kelly Rowland, Melanie Fiona, Chromeo, Passion Pit, Neo, CeeLo, Robin Thicke, Jessie J, Usher, and R. Kelly to write and record original songs to the music.
Drops the mic.
Yeah, drop the mic. Wow. I'm floored. I'm floored. Rare is it, and I've been in this business a long time, that you meet a young person that honors those that have been pioneers. This is amazing. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. I have nothing left to say. Nothing left to say.
And I must be honest, the goal was not necessarily to honor or to tribute.
Although it has.
Although it has, of course. The goal was really to bring the magic of that music to a new generation of kids.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I had to go to the source.
Yep.
I had to go to the source. Because when I started this process, I put my favorite 25 songs from that era in a list. It was Michael Jackson, it was Earth, Wind & Fire, it was Shaka Khan, it was Diana Ross, it was Shalimar, it was Luther, so on and so forth. And I said, how do I get my songs to sound and feel like these songs? Then I made a list of every musician who played on every one of the 25 songs.
Yeah.
Literally, drummer, percussionist, bass player, guitar player, horn player. I made 25 lists.
Yeah.
And after I made 25 lists, what did I see? I saw the same names
Yep.
of the same musicians. And I said, this is the secret sauce. They are the architects of the sound. They are the men behind the music. So if I want to achieve my mission and make new music for young people that captures the magical spirit, emotion, and sound and feeling of his music, I need to go to the source. And by result, I paid homage to the greatest musicians of all time.
Wow. The name of the album?
The name of the album is Paradise Royale.
Paradise Royale.
Yeah, so what is Paradise Royale? Ask me what is Paradise Royale.
What is Paradise Royale, DJ Cassidy?
Paradise Royale is a fantasy land that I've envisioned in my mind over the past 4 years. I've seen all different kinds of people dance to this music, right? Mm-hmm. In every city, state, country, continent, old, young, black, white, rich, poor, and everyone in between. And I said, what if all these kinds of people I've seen, of every race, religion, sexual orientation, and location, what if they actually all came to one party? That would be paradise. And I envisioned this fantasy land, and to me it had a pink sky and flamingos ran around the dance floor, and this was my imaginary vision of a fantasy land, and I called that place where all these kinds of people came to celebrate to one music, the Paradise Royale.
Wow, nice. The beautiful irony is that you wanted to bring back the magic and a certain sound of music, and I'm new here to the Radio 1 Magic 102.3 family. They kind of brought me back. So I appreciate this moment. Just grateful for you to be here. And I wonder, can you hold up that sign that's sitting right there in front of you? Can you make sure, Farrell, you get that? Because Michelle's now on Magic. I'm Michelle Wright. That's DJ Cassidy. Follow him on Twitter at DJ Cassidy. I'm going to follow you. Follow me back, sir.
I will. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And for those of you out there that would like to see how this music was made,
Yes.
if you go on my website, djcassidy.com, you can see the making of the music, and you can see the making of the single Make the World Go Round featuring R. Kelly, and how me and all the musicians got in the studio and created this magic together.
Awesome. So Cassie, what I want to know is, how did you locate all these different musicians, bring them all together?
I located these incredible musicians and singers over a tedious, let's say, 4-year journey. I found that most of these musicians lived in LA and had back in the day formed this very interconnected, incestuous web of, I guess you could say, musicianship. And one musician really led me to the next. One man who goes by the name of Wah Watson is a very legendary guitar player. He played guitar in Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On, that famous wah, 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 wah. That's Wah Wah. And Wah Wah's a crazy man, curses you out every time you see him. But as soon as I learned that the F word actually meant love, I was able to embrace him. And he really became a mentor. And he introduced me to Patrice Rushen, who we all know for her amazing hit records,
Baby
Forget
Fingers.
Me Nots, yeah. And he introduced me to Marcus Miller, who played on all the Luther records, and he went on to play bass on my R. Kelly song, Make the World Go Round. Every musician really led me to the next. Now when it came to the singers, for example, R. Kelly, I traveled to Chicago 8 times over the course of 20 months, went to 6 shows on his tour, and went to Barnes & Noble, bought his book, and waited in line for 7 hours to get to the front of the line to meet him. And after 20 months, we recorded Make the World Go Round. And I have a crazy story like that for every singer on the album. This really was a journey that necessitated the utmost passion, persistence, and patience.
Wow. DJ Cassidy, I'm Michelle Wright. It's Magic 102.3.